Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is Tuxedo Ian. We are getting back into our playthrough of Cultist Simulator as soon as the game will load here. Taking its sweet time loading, probably because of the various mods that we have installed. There we go. The wood grows around the walls of the mansus. As any student of the histories knows, the mansus has no walls. Alright, and as you remember, we are using the Season of Acquaintances mod, which shuffles a whole lot of things up and adds a whole bunch of new people. So my follower, I've hired a swindler, and they're spinning some deceptions right now to try and get us some notoriety on the board, because our current hunter is erratic, so she will need notoriety in order to not create. So let's see. We have... Okay, so the church, we've exhausted everybody. College, we've exhausted everybody. The bookies, we have not. So we'll go see who we can find at the bookies. Murderers and smiths, soldiers and scoundrels. These are there are common powers they all revere, even if they do not know it. I might tease out some of those powers tonight, and in so doing attract new devotees. We're working at Glover and Glover, and probably as soon as we're done with this work shift, we will send our swindler to try and drive him insane. So she has no evidence currently. Mr. Alden wants us to work overtime. If he doesn't retire this time, we are going to forcibly retire him. Well, she did not manage to make any evidence with hers. Alright. In the aftermath of the match, laborers move to disassemble the ring. One of them wrestles with an especially burdensome load of wood and metal. It is surprising she can lift such a weight at all. A few planks fall from her arms as she works, and she swears. "Amma," the woman grunts. So we need our strength skill. She is surprised when I move to help her, and more surprised yet when I refuse payment. Surprised, but not ungrateful. That is not correct, she shakes her head. If you do not want the money, you are either a fool or after something else. She pauses. You are strange. I am Roya. A towering emigre from Persia, Roya earns her keep at the dockyards and foundries with arresting efficacy, but she always looks troubled when the gulls pass overhead, laughing. Interesting. And I'm still wondering where we're going to scrape up the money for the Tiresiac. Though we're at... So once we get rid of Mr. Alden, we should be able to get rid of that. Okay, Alden, your time is done. Because I am going to talk with my swindler. And we are going to deal with you one way or another. Send a devious minion to drive an annoyance insane. I want this irritation out of my way. This scheme will probably succeed, but if it fails, it will draw attention. Which will not be bad, because she really has trouble with notoriety, so having some notoriety on the board will not hurt. And while we're doing that, we can paint. We have notoriety. You know what? Let's make some more. Those who know will understand, as will the Suppression Bureau. Let's see, we have no books right now. We need to go to the Oriflammes to get some books after this. And we might as well dream on the stag door, which needs reason. Stag Door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head, Gerby, weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. We're generating one additional notoriety. So we have a new follower. We also have Elridge to deal with sooner or later. But for now, let's go to Oriflammes and see what we can find. We perch on alarming Rietveld's chairs in a windowless auction room with vividly burnt orange walls, waiting for the auctioneer to announce what he's offering. The reek of new paint makes the brain spin. We have a collection of poetry. We might as well get one, because that will give us 4 for our next upgrade. I've raised my hand. The auctioneer raps out an acknowledgement. Will anyone match me? All conviction. The world goes away. This is something special. It may provoke a reaction. 5 inspiration. 3 funds. My recent work is considered significant. I may yet earn a living from this, but nothing is certain. So we got some mystique and our notoriety back. So let's go ahead and do that again. We can use the notoriety and the 2 mystiques. We'll do a mood piece this time. This should have an impact. And we generated another notoriety, which she grabbed. Moth finds the light in the dark, and so do I. So that will be a restlessness when it triggers. So we can do. Let's just take the Forgotten Chronicle. Yep, the better than the Fascination. Last night, Gerby was talkative. He spoke of his siege engine voice of the histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories tailed off again into weeping. We'll go ahead and go through the door again and see what we can find. The auctioneer makes a note of my name and signals one of the attendants. I have my prize. I hope it's worth it. Stoom! A can of nitrate film labeled Stoom. Silent, or perhaps mute. The director's name, Jernick Cross, is shakily appended. Now that's something we definitely want. Because that's going to give us... Oh, what is this? Do no harm? A weak stomach, or perhaps some surviving vestige of morality, has this one questioning the nobility of our work. Klaus doesn't like the fact that we dealt with Mr. Mr. Overtime. My minion has returned. The annoyance is no longer capable of lucid speech, let alone capable of annoying me further. So we'll send him to make some more secrecy. Okay, so we have that going, so we'll study some health to get vitality. We have restlessness on the board. I can attempt to quell this one's doubts with passion, but they may be staunch in their values. Well, good thing I have a few passions left. Has my adversary been practicing a musical instrument instead of pursuing the investigation? Flinging darts at a corkboard? Or just taking very long naps? Reports are inconsistent, but so is their behavior. They've made no progress. Luckily, my passions will respawn before this timer ticks out, but that's good to know that there's a way to prevent that by using passion. This is good work I can be proud of. With enough publicity, it will sell. So that gets me 3 funds. Nice. And also, you'll notice that this no longer has a timer on it. The man called Alden is gone. I may find matters easier when I return to work. So for right now, we don't have to worry about Glover and Glover because we're making pretty good money while painting. So we're going to focus on that. Another bidder. Someone has matched my bid. I must match it with more funds or forgo my prize. But this gives us time to work as a city guide for a while. An interested soul has inquired about a more obscure parts of the city. I agreed to guide them for a suitable fee. So we can use this restlessness here to keep it from decaying until we can paint with it. This was necessary. This will continue to be necessary. Well, let's hope we can get it enough time. Well, all of our passion should restore by the time he's ready. Hopefully he won't need all 4 of them, but... Alright, so we can go... We don't need a trembling heat yet, but we can do... Let's see what's at the Painted River. Fascination. I dreamt of the mansus behind the white door, of the great space above the orchard, the space that overlooks the bounds, the space where the vagabond once painted her river. Painted ships passed upon the painted river. I met the painted eyes of a painted captain. She saluted, and the motion was like layered movement of clouds. The sail of the ship was amber, and the captain's eyes the green of new barley, and the river aquamarine. Now that I'm awake, I see those colors still. Well, we may have a way to deal with that later. And if this restlessness doesn't get consumed, it will decay to dread, which we can use to go hire that Russian lady. I've won the auction. The auctioneer makes a note of my name and signals one of the attendants. I have my prize. I hope it's worth it. Next up on the auction block. A collection of poetry. No, I only need 4 for the next level, so we have an affliction to deal with, but we're almost done here with fresh air and exercise. There we go. And our vitality. All I need now is time. We'll go ahead and read Stum. I'll need to purchase a projector to watch this. The film rattles through the projector, glows silently on the wall. It is the story of a foolish student of forbidden sciences who recruits a dancer to entice the dead back into the world through a flaw in its skin. It's a fiction, but here on the title card is laid out the operation of the declining sun. So we get some winter lore out of that. She's grabbing the mystiques. Oh, come on. Don't take all my passion for that. Questions outnumber answers now. My followers' lies have proven effective. So we'll continue to use that person to do more secrecy stuff. Just because we can. Because the next level needs 5 of them, and I don't think it's going to be quite that easy. Auction is over. The lot has gone on elsewhere. We have Gildasleeve's Latin grammar. Well, we already know Latin, so we can let that one go. Memory is a maze, and at its heart, a garden. My thoughts will wander, and I will follow. Old emotions will come to roost. The protestations cease. My follower falls into thoughtful silence. They are troubled, but they will continue to believe. At least for a little while longer. So that's good that it's not a necessary thing. They can be talked out of the necessity of violence if need be. Though it does consume quite a lot of your passion to do so, but we're not using it for anything else anyway, so. Edification in all things. My follower's presence is conducive to learning, so I got some rational observations. You can use this card to solve knowledge or illumination research challenges. How handy. So let's see. We can try and upgrade the Smith's Secrets, or we can do the Mance's Glimpse upgrades. Because that will hang around for 3 minutes. We have walked the maze of back alleys and gardens. My services were well compensated. So I got 5 funds for that, and that will regen in 2 minutes. So that's a net profit of 3 funds. That's very much worthwhile. And when this is done, we can go recruit that Russian. Sick room grows close. Time to get up. The right is depicted in chilling detail. Here is the flaw in the world, an influence shimmering in luminous paint. Here is the dancer establishing an irresistible rhythm. Here the scholar recites the operation, and now the misty dead whirls through the flaw to consume him. The film closes on the dancer's watchful eyes. Had she intended it all from the start? So we got dread from reading that. An operation of the declining sun. This invokes, acknowledges, and welcomes the passage to silence. Use this in a rite with a heart influence and Byzantine tinct to summon the voiceless dead. And the sunset rite. The assistant must cry tears of genuine emotion, which are asperged in the place where the influence lies. If all is done well, the sun in rags will consume the influence, acknowledging an ending, and lend its assistance. So this is going to be one of our more useful rites, because unlike Watchman's Sorrow, which takes away lore from your brain, and Crucible's Soul, which kills the person who's conducting the ritual, Sunset Rite consumes influences instead, and influences, well, dread is an influence. Fascination is an influence. In fact, let's see what we can do with what we have here. We have a dread we can look at. Summoning something. Edge is the aspect of battle and struggle. Dread has edge and scale. There are possibilities here. Add knock to attempt a summoning. Add lantern or moth to enact a battle in my own soul. Add winter to make something not entirely dead out of a corpse, and add secret histories to ignite someone else's passion. Oh, that's new. We add secret histories. With at least 10 secret histories and 5 edge, I could use the mystic disciple called the Great Secret of Betrayal to turn someone onto the path of power, but usually not someone in particular. That must be one of the new rights that was added with one of the mods I had, but that's interesting. So, let's add some knock. We have a knock believer. There are possibilities here. If we add lantern, we can contact a creature from behind mirrors. If we add heart, we contact something irrepressible. If we add winter, we summon a creature of intense cold. With more winter, I could contact a servant of the sun in rags. With more edge, I could bind a savage creature to do me a specific service. So, let's see, what do we have? We have... Well, let's try our heart. Summon a creature of the Thunderskin, the percussagant, merciless and merry. Heart will bring it, edge will constrain it. If we add lantern, summon a sharp-edged lantern thing. A hint was once a living mortal, and then a dead one, and now it's something else. Their summoning requires lantern, for the light which drew them to the mansis, and edge, for the striving they've endured in mirrors. Oh, we'll call out a hint. And that will consume the dread. Ooh, a new burn for rituals. Interesting. Very nice, very nice. And now we can go and contact Yelena. I know where a certain Russian goes to be alone with her grief. But we need Streets Strange by Moonlight for that. So let's explore with some health until we can find a Streets Strange by Moonlight. And then we can go and recruit this angry Russian lady to join us. And so she won't beat us up again. I might have found somewhere unusual. Hopefully this is Streets Strange by Moonlight. It is. That helps. Alright, so we can add her... Whoop. We can add the whereabouts card. We need Streets Strange by Moonlight. The hulking crone is in the same place I found her, sitting alone on a bench. She does not look at me as I approach, but she speaks. Why did you return? I was clear the last time we met about what I would do to you. But instead, we can give her dread. She grunts when I'm finished speaking. Kindred pains, or close to it. She makes room on the bench. I sit, and we do not speak for the rest of the night. And she's steadily chewing through these mystiques up here. So now that we have our verb free, we can combine these two, or we can, let's see, those would need intuition and practical experimentation. This is good for knowledge or illumination. Neither one of those. But we could use it for the Mansis Glimpse upgrade. So we'll do that. We'll upgrade these two Mansis Glimpse together. There is a proverb among the practitioners of the invisible arts. Glory visits the house without walls. I would like to know about glory. And while we're here, we might as well, we're not doing anything with Dream, we might as well go back to the Stag Door. See if we can get us another nice Secret Histories lore. And our passions are refueled. So we can use our library for this. So the rational observations would be good if we needed something that the library could not do. Oop, we've got fascination, but we'll have that dread that will counteract it. Now I understand. Summoning a rebellious spirit. So we can use passion to reassert control, and we could let what would happen, or we can try reason to dismiss it. So we will attempt to stabilize the summoning. And we now have a second unmerciful mantra, which means we can upgrade that one more level once our summoning is done. And we might as well upgrade these two Smith secrets to level 4. Yelena, an acquaintance. During the revolution, Yelena's husband fought for the whites, and her sons fought for the reds. And now they fight no more. She has had her laugh at life's black joke. Oh, so there's still more people to meet at Street Strange by Moonlight. Very few know that smiths and murderers speak the same prayers. I will examine those prayers. Yeah, we'll take the Forgotten Chronicle. Gerby was talkative. He spoke in his siege engine voice of histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories tailed off again into weeping. So we might as well use this before it decays. Use provide erudition, use rational observations, or a library. My summoning will obey my wishes. For now. The Hinter are most comfortable behind the scenes, behind the mirrors, behind you. They slide under doors and kill with glass, but they cannot survive the gaze of a living mortal. Aha! There it is. Is that it? You have resolved a knowledge challenge. Now I understand. And we can go back, and now we can work as a city guide again. Let's see, we don't have anything else we can put in that slot. Oh, we will shortly. No, our Street Strange by Moonlight is being used. But we have, it should be free by the time we're done here. We'll see. We now have, we've upgraded those to an Ardent Horizon. When we watch for fire, when we watch a fire, what are we watching for? When we find it, these are the words it will speak. A word that sanctifies the change that comes when the seared skin peels. We might as well upgrade these. Certain words beg to be spoken. It is tempting to spend time in their consideration. Tempting and perhaps useful. Some words are spelt correctly only when the proper ink is used. And this will need a glimmering, which we don't have, unfortunately. But it will be fine. It'll be fine. I have drawn no new devotees to my work. None to whom I spoke were impressed with my subtleties, and others still may have found them alarming. So that generated some dread, which went right to help quell our fascination. Handy, handy. So we can wander through we can guide our helpers through Street Strange by Moonlight, and we can study an occult scrap to find a vault that we can send our hint to explore. My follower is at work. He's doing good work creating more secrecies for us. So we actually are going to have enough here if we do that one more time. A subtle rupture. Knock influence is not all that great at the moment. And yeah, it's a sixth level, but we can get that as exploring Street Strange by Moonlight. So we'll go to the Painted River again and get a Forbidden Epic. Good proper choice. There is a great chamber in the Mansis through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. The attention of the hours is drawn to the bloodiest wars. Afterwards, the histories are braided like hair. Exploring with this scrap of knowledge may uncover secret locations in the land beyond the forest across the continent. So we're stacking up on our lures there. We don't have any eccentric notions, sadly. But we can get some. We can get a glimmering here. So let's hope we get a vault that we can use either edge or lantern for. And we haven't had a season of ambitions for a while. I have allowed my passion to break through, for better or for worse. So we've generated some mystique with this. This place merits closer attention. Congregation of St. Felix of Schruin. Well, it has some watchers, so yes, that does work. That works perfectly. Our hinter can go take them out. A nonconformist enclave of heterodox sect of a Calvinist offshoot, tucked away in an odd corner of the city. They belt out hymns with unsuitable gusto, in throat-scraping language that is very much not quite Latin. So we can send our hint. And we have to add 1 funds, and luckily there's only one obstacle to deal with here. Membership of the congregation is strictly controlled. It may even be inherited. The safest approach is to burgle the minister's residence while he's conducting a service, but the sworn mothers of the congregation guard the place in shifts, and they are not easily distracted. So we'll send our hint to go kill them. Got 5 funds for that. So that's pretty good use of our time. Even though if we can't do it we can do it only every 2 minutes, we still get a +3 as far as our funds go. Let's see. Well, let's bother the Bureau a little bit. Those who know will understand. I've passed the time, I've been inclined to tears, and afterwards inclined to laughter. Meanwhile, the world continues. So now we can use that glimmering to upgrade our Grail lore. The expedition continues. The expedition sets off. I have given my agents the opportunity to serve. Let us hope it ends well for us all. Okay, so we have the funds needed for this next challenge. This is a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find those pieces in odd corners of scholarship. You provide glimmering, eccentric notions, or use a sanctuary. And we got some vitality. My own heart pumps more strongly today. And we're going to have some restlessness trends coming here. Okay, will this last long enough? Come on, come on, come on. Yes. We have just enough time to upgrade our secrecy to the highest level. So we have a Megalesian incantation. The Great Mother remembers. My recent work is considered significant. I may yet earn a living from this, but nothing is certain. Our strength is considerable. We shouldn't be more than enough for these holy fools. But if we wanted to, since we have Yelena now, we can send another... Oh, we need to recruit her first. We can do that easily enough. So we need to give her Forge. This one is ready. And now we can increase our cult's discretion. We have just enough secrecy and it lasted just long enough. And we need Moth at least level 6. We have an Esthesis Parable. We will grow further yet in the space that subtlety has earned us. This is probably as big as our cult can get, but I'm glad we managed to get it done early enough that we don't have to struggle with it later. And there's some restlessness, which will decay to dread later. But we can deal with that when it comes. And now we don't have to worry about stockpile. Oh, there she grabbed some notoriety, so have fun with that, Mrs. Eccentric. Miss Erratic. And she cannot be demoralized, which means we can't speak to her using dread to influence her, but we could use fascination, possibly. Ceremony requires a searing, only a little one, but they will carry the mark all their life. Yelena gives people what she thinks they deserve. Morbid, their words have a tendency to stick and then to rot. Whenever this follower is used, there's a small chance they will produce dread. Defiant, one never knows how loyalty is ended. This follower starts with one resentment. And resilient, some can live through more pain than seems reasonable. This follower will die at 4 scars rather than 3. The bodies lie in robed huddles, each indistinguishable from the next. Step over. Move on. And of course, now we get a season of cravings, or a season of ambitions. So what's Eldridge up to? He's trying cautious schemes. Well, I've already scoped out that vault, so he can't steal it from me. And there goes our swindler. Treasures lie before us. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds, but we have treasures, so we don't have another challenge coming up, actually, so... They shall not see us unless we intend it. Invisible. We are as an invisible hand, and our reach is longer with each passing sunset. Your cult can support unlimited numbers of members without arousing untenable suspicion, so we no longer are limited by how many cult members we can have. Yay for that. Alright, so our city guide is just about replenished here, and so we'll go out again, wandering again. We'll use this restlessness to help us along the way. And Daisy is unhappy that we hurt those monks. But we can use passion to quell her. Okay, so he is going about his business in the shadows, which will leave my time free to progress. And also, since I have the ability now, once we are done with this job, we will do the work, since we are now considered part of the know. Uh-oh. A long shadow. Bizarre tragedies and uncanny crimes are discussed at the newsstands in hushed tones. Fewer people walk the streets at night. They do not know who we are, but they know what we have done. Interesting. So, going on treasure hunts can cause infamy. But, on the other hand, we have this the syndicate boss who wants us to have infamy, so that's kind of a two-edged sword there. So we'll be able to get her and start making things for her. My thoughts will wander and I will follow. Old emotions will come to roost. Nothing of consequence, no one and nothing, at least for today. A living soul, or perhaps several, have borne witness to our uncannier activities. Rumor will abound. Someone may step forward to testify. I shouldn't let that happen. A witness? Okay, so this is something new. They have seen, and that is danger enough. If they speak to living witnesses about your crimes, hunters can create substantial evidence or upgrade tentative evidence directly into damning evidence. Well, they're an annoyance. Here's a thorn in my side. I may yet find a way to remove it. Well, after we finish this exploration... The minister's bedchamber is grand in proportion, but sparsely furnished. Beneath the window, a feathered ornamental axe rests beside an enameled chalice drum on a little altar of yew wood. Interesting, so it's an altar to the Malachite. Though Daisy is fine with that, we quelled her misunderstanding. A menace of the press. First necessary elements of a case against me are in play. I am not yet in danger of a trial, but I must be careful not to give this hunter more clues to follow. A publicist is sensationalizing evidence of my crimes. Well, let's see if we can get some fascination to deal with her. I have dreamed of the forge, and I long for the heat of her flames. It's almost time to perform the work and begin the changes, but I must have enough forge aspect. Exploration might find more. So we can start the work. Beneath the altar, in a box secured with a complicated triple knot, we find a trove of books, and more besides. A knife rank with old blood, a twist of cloth, a leathery remnant of something the minister must have surrendered at his ordination. So we got some notoriety. We got Chionet Abydos, The Rose of Wasne, written in Greek, De Bellis Merorum, an 18th century epic poem by the pseudonymous Soliphistos, Kerner and Goth, which would teach us Greek, an unattended church, but we already know Greek. The minister disappeared one night, quite abruptly, with his inner circle and the church's chiefest treasures. He is widely assumed to have gone to a better place, possibly a sunny place beside a shining sea. We could recruit his leaderless flock and make this our base of operations. Locus. This location is suitable for a ritual. So I guess so we could do rituals even if we don't have in different places to do different things. The Rose of Nuriel, marked with the triple sign of the arcane contemplative order known as the Sisterhood of the Knot in Greek. Well, we don't need that Kerner and Goth, so we can auction it off. And we can go ahead and read Chionet Abydos, a play dealing with the 9-year sojourn of a snow goddess in the Thracian city of Abydos by Apollo Fireweaver. It enjoyed success in London in its 1892 edition when it was republished from, apparently, an older Greek text. The entity called Chion arrives at a blizzard and demands the city gates are barred. As Abydos falls under her spell, the dead return, but do not speak. I am sort of famous now. This does not bode well for my work. Well then, we have problems to deal with. My rival has been up to some kind of mischief. The Suppression Bureau may take note. But he's made no advances on his plans. You know, as much as I kind of don't want to, but we are going to use the hint to try and kill this witness. I am out of patience with this nuisance. This should be an end to the matter, but they could possibly survive, and the attempt will draw attention. So even if we lose it, it's not that bad, and notoriety is not too bad because she is erratic after all. For whatever unlikely reason, my item caught the fancy of the bidders. How nice. Hopefully she doesn't try and grab the witness before the hint can kill it. Oh, I got some fascination. I can probably try and use that to get rid of her. Hopefully. I don't think it'll last because she has all that mystique to go through. We have a trembling heat. Yeah. We could try and do something with Forge. That would be a level 6. Or let's go. Just go back to the Painted River. Oh, yes, another Forbidden Epic. Handy. Yep, we've seen that one before, so another Forbidden Epic is in our grasp. So that's the Land Beyond the Forest. I might as well keep dreaming there. For 8 years, the city is a place of slow death, frosty ecstasy, and silent beauty. But in the 9th year, a conspiracy of shouts is mounted against the quiet that Chion demands. The conspirators open the city gates, and a scarred man comes to drag Chion out by the hair. Summer returns, but the conspirators die of remorse. A white ceremony. When I speak it, my lips don't crisp with frost. Each time this is surprising. Use this in a rite with a heart influence and a Byzantine tink to summon the voiceless dead. The Byzantine tinct must be knocked. The auctioneer's gavel bangs. My item is sold, so that got me 2 funds. How handy. And we then will read De Bellis Murorum by Soliphistos. The poem, an 18th century epic poem by the pseudonymous Soliphistos. The poem epically describes a war between beasts, weather phenomena, and arcane concepts. It's quite specific about their tactics. Yep, looks like. Come on, come on, come on. Don't grab my grab the mystique. Yes, that's it. My minion is hunting an annoyance. And I'm going to have to quell somebody's problems, but we can do that. So, our city guide is still recharging, so we can use reason to try and spur progress in society here. And as inspiration, we can use lore or a book. Let's use our Forge lore and see what we can make of that. Probably make some more notoriety, but even if we do, no matter. So we have some dread. We'll have to work on getting some contentment here sooner or later. I've had an unexpected surge of inspiration. It's reading over my work. My minion returns. This annoyance will trouble us no longer. We have a human corpse. The spirit is departed. At some point, the smell will be so bad you'll have to dispose of it, but here it is for now. It may attract attention. It may be used to impress the impressionable. Even after the corpse is gone, notoriety will remain. So we can grab another Forgotten Chronicle, or we can go to the Painted River. We'll take the Painted River. Ah, good. Some fascination. Good, 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 good. I can see the ideal and will realize it. Ooh, we have 4 insights. An insight I've written on suspicious material. How is my work received? I've written on impressive work. My work is unexpectedly successful, so we got notoriety and 2 funds from that. The 2-1 joined, and the horn distinguished. Consequently, blood. Chillarch's lesson. This is the bone-deep story of the 1,000-man learnt in antiquity of blood and its exits. To speak it aloud is to hear the sword hiss. Use this in a rite with corpse and winter power, and the corpse will rise. Well, can we use the corpse for that? For the sunset rite? Where did our corpse go? Oh, it went up here. Can't use that one either. So we need a rite that can actually take corpses, which none of them have right now. So let's see if I can get my... I have a 6 Forge lore, so let's see if we can promote our Forge disciples to the next level. I need to provide at least to the 7th intensity, so I can do that. My follower will kneel as a novice and rise as an initiate. I will administer the necessary oaths myself. Oh, and we have bronze spintry, so we can use that. We can start making we can start making disciples out of everybody. Yes. So now we must perform the work. What's barred from here? Aspect, not workable. Something I can't work on. Something I can work on. A great work. The final fulfillment of a desire is often a conclusion. It is not enough to hope I stand or fail on my deeds. So I have to prove I'm a no. And then I need Forge lore. Not enough. Not yet. Okay, so as soon as I'm done with that, with this, I can use that to bring him back in, to do the work. Let's seek out the secret places of the city. And our hint is about to vanish. Eldridge is about to go make his move while we are busy escorting somebody around the city. But that's fine. We need money. So the corpse is decayed to notoriety. And then the hint has decayed to a consciousness of radiance. There is a light behind the world, a light above the mansus, a light that penetrates both glass and skin. It is present here. A second-order influence, apparent to the perceptive, instantly recognizable to an adept. This can be used in some rites to summon minions, and some minions will leave it lingering when they're destroyed. If unused, it will become fascination. I am destroyed. I am remade. Now I sear my skin, and by these marks shall I be known. I pledge myself to the flame, and I shall not flinch from any remaking. So, let's use... We can use a bronze spintria as trappings for our ceremony. And we want to get Atticus. We need a heart follower. Cater and Hero Limited. So we need Forge or lantern? Well, we have forge. We can do that. One of my followers moves quickly to gloat on their newfound status. So Edgar is taunting Hal. How funny. The two of them taunt each other. Pride, the beast that devours its brothers. So that's one resentment there. Where his work is impeded, Edgar is known to break rules. Where his ambitions are impeded, Edgar is known to break people. But we'll go ahead and send him to Cater and Hero. Because we only have one. The remaining factory walls could topple at any moment. Blackened timbers creak in pain. We must equip ourselves properly and move with dreadful care. It's been abandoned since the explosion when both the owners died. The machine stands silent. The building is a collapsing shell. Mr. Cater was known to display peculiar trinkets in his office. Perhaps some yet remain. So let's see what we can do with Atticus at level 2, at believer level, or at disciple level. We have wandered the maze of back alleys and gardens. My services were well compensated. So let's see, let's do some painting. Since she's already got a notoriety, we might as well use these. We can use a fascination. This should have an impact. Oh, he's busy now. A murderous scheme. Traces left by a rival's decision to move against an enemy. However, she's busy right now, so he's not going to be able to try and kill her, I don't think. I could spend money. Okay, don't need to do that. But I can send my other forge person. Oh, I forgot. I have not inducted her yet. So, as soon as this is done, I will promote her. Oh, I will induct her and then promote her. Hopefully his 5 forge will be enough. A series of pleasantry. My followers possess an infectious sense of optimism. Here and there, my followers' knitted wit bears something striking. How nice. So we're going to get some contentment to defend against the dread, and we're going to get something else. We're going to get a eccentric notions. Atticus the Disciple. It is difficult to disagree with Atticus, even when he is wrong. His ubiquitous cheer, his smile, his fervor, the argument of his enthusiasm is not easily set aside. So we'll induct Roya here. I have not shirked. So she's going to try and upgrade that evidence. There goes our contentment. Here and there. So we have some eccentric notions. Sometimes there is no logic. Sometimes the dots need not connect. You can use this card to solve intuition or paradoxical research challenges. Well, we have that here. Intuition. Or we could upgrade this. Yeah, let's do our heart lore. Yeah, because we can upgrade Lantern easily enough. So we can study the lore unceasing. There are lessons the anatomist, the dancer, and the shaman all learn. We call upon the Madrigad, who quells and quiets. The Madrigad is an hour of forge as well as winter. Her power might quiet the unsteady earth. We'll probably be fine. So our follower will be promoted here in just a minute, and we can send them out to join it. And actually, here we can be clever, because we can grab this and start doing the work. This rite is the key that will allow the Forge of Days to enter me. I will be changed forever. Roya, a believer. Roya knows there is nothing simpler and nothing more applicable than strength. Prepared. If they are part of the starting team, this follower will automatically add 1 fund to any expedition they are sent on. And resilient. She requires 4 scars to kill rather than 3. So we'll send her out to assist at this. So there's our eccentric notions for that. Cloud's part. Here has my adversary been practicing a musical instrument instead of pursuing the investigation, flinging darts at a corkboard, or just taking very long naps? Reports are inconsistent, but so is their behavior. They've made no progress. We've mud-spattered and thorn-scratched, but we've made it through. So we must risk our health or use a prisoner. We can use our health, because we can restore it. There it is. Is that it? You have resolved a practical challenge. Okay, so now that she is free from that, perhaps we could parley, or perhaps I could send something to ambush them. We can speak with her about fascination. The higher you rise, the more you'll see. This might tempt the hunter from their path, but will always increase your own fascination. So we have 1 fascination that's about to decay. I've increased my mastery of the lore unceasing, which we call by its aspect heart. Geminate Invocation. The sister in which has always been invoked for protection, at crossroads and at moonrise, and where the land shelters the sea. Use this in a rite with Byzantine tinct and a meteoric bullet, or other resources of equal power, to summon a percussagant. And we might as well upgrade our lantern lore since we can, since we have a study with a library. Bizarre tragedies and uncanny crimes are discussed at the newsstands in hushed tones. Fewer people walk the streets at night. They do not know who we are, but they know what we have done. Is this generating infamy for raiding Cater's office? Here is the... let's see. Here is the capacious room where Mr. Cater once watched his workers on the factory floor. The window glass is long gone, and rats and crows have made this place their battleground, but perhaps there is still something of use here. The capital is tense with fear, and the Suppression Bureau will looking even harder for a face to put behind bars. Okay, so there's some infamy, and I'm guessing because there's a 1, there can be multiple tiers of that. So now we can go and talk to Mrs. Beak and get her as a patron once we finish this exploration here. Provide erudition, rational observations, or use a library. We have a library we can use. The rite is complete. The marks of the forge are upon me. The first mark is what I have said, and the second is what I have done. If I inspect my body, I'll find the third. I am aglow with new needs. Ascension power. The forge has kindled an answering spark in my flesh. I am desperate for the heat of fires. I think that very soon I may begin to set them in my sleep. It is an urgent need, like the need for water. I know this to be the third mark. So, now every time the season of ambition comes around, we're going to consume 1 funds to make hotter and hotter fires. But that's easy. That's not too bad for us, because we can at least just, we can continue to do work here. Actually, we need the fleeting reminiscence. We need to get rid of the restlessness. Because the fleeting reminiscence can counter this fascination that got grabbed. 2 floorboards lift away to reveal a hollow beneath Cater's desk. The rats have made free with the biscuits he stored there against the peckishness which haunts the entrepreneur, but they could not penetrate this iron lockbox. A moment with a crowbar will open it. So we have a bronze spintria. The Bancroft Diaries, the notorious journal of a notorious gentleman, written in Latin, no doubt for the sake of safety. A Maravine idol. The Maravi would make little wooden idols to placate the witch twins they feared in their lake. The lake is almost dry now, but the idols in the witch twins yet remain, yet shadowed with the aspect of the heart. An abandoned warehouse, a rotting shell beside a rotting river. Who would follow us here? Confluence of entropy. A rite performed in this place will be changed to include an additional ingredient. Interesting. Vital pigment. It is not usual for this red to survive the death of the body. Well, now that we have that done, we can go and talk to Mrs. Beak. And she is at the East End Bookies, and we must pay the entry fee. The woman and her troop of thugs are at ringside again. As the boxers trade blows, she talks in hushed tones with an associate, a tall American this time. At points, she seems bored or even cross with the man, but their conversation carries on. She wants us to have infamy, which we do now. The woman narrows her eyes when she sees me. When I try leaving the venue, I am stopped and marched back inside by a pair of stone-faced Turks. The woman is there, waiting for me. "I've heard a bit about you," she says. "You have a talent for trouble, and trouble the wrong way. It's bad for business. Sit, and we can talk about how to regulate your talent." Illumination. This is a puzzle with missing pieces. I have a library already, so we don't have to worry about that. So let's see. Do we have anywhere we can put that pigment? I think we might have a shelf we can put that on. Ingredients, pigments, yes. We can put it right there. So we have our influences and our pigments and our rights. Now I understand. Your account is too much for the hunter. Their eyes grow wide and bright. Their smile becomes dreamy. In the days to come, they will forsake everything they once knew. Kit, a renegade. Here and there we are noticed. A turned head on the street corner, a pair of cautious eyes from the high window. Somewhere Kit is publishing another story. Rival's Ascension, so she's at 3. So she's another rival for me now. Loyalty to the Velvet. For secrets are edged tools and must be kept free from children, and from fools. Suspicious, a detective may wish to investigate this. And Maverick, a student of the invisible arts with an agenda of their own. And we generated more fascination. But hopefully this will grab the fleeting reminiscence here in a second, rather than one of the next fascinations. I've increased my mastery of the glorious lore, which we call by its aspect lantern. A Fenian invocation. The door in the eye navigates. He is not merciful, but first and always he illuminates. Use this in a rite with Noctool and Thrilling Air, or other resources of equal power to summon a hint from behind mirrors. Let's see. We also have Winter. We can upgrade this. We're just using our library. So now that we have no investigator, it's grabbed our fascination. So let's burn this other fascination with the fleeting remnants, so it does not consume us. So they'll send another hunter. Maybe. I'm safe for now. The meddler's attention must be elsewhere. A relief. A scheme to murder a hunter has ended without consequences. Perhaps this was for the best. Since we converted her, rather than killing her. So let's see. Can we talk to her? I've never actually had a game where I had a rival, so I'm not quite sure what to do with that. Okay, so Alexandra Beek, the self-styled Iron Mother, is a newer name in the capital underworld, but no one says it lightly. Her story is written with imported muscle, punctual hit jobs, and alleged dalliances with the Forge. No score is made in the city without her approval. So let's see what kind of things she would like to talk to us about. Beek is tinkering with an inscrutable clockwork mask when I am brought up to her office. She lifts her welder's mask up when she turns to speak. I need something taken care of. Quiet, loud, just make sure you get it done. And she can also teach me Aramaic later. Okay, so using that bronze spintria in my forge right consumed it. So I need to find something else. It was nice to have it, though. Take on a job for the Syndicate. Beek hands me my orders in the form of a yellowed note and turns back to her work table without another word. Enterprise smuggling. Even with the proper paperwork, it can take ages to move something from one side of the sea to the other, especially if that something is a crate of Browning automatics or illegally imported wine. Beek would like us to expedite the shipping process. So that's something new. So it's a job. I've increased my mastery of the Ragged lore, which we call by its aspect winter. An operation of the declining sun. This invokes, acknowledges, and welcomes the passage to silence. Use this inner rite with a heart influence and Byzantine tink to summon the voiceless dead. Ooh, we're in trouble. We need to find a way to manufacture some fleeting reminiscence or dread. In a hurry. Or else we're dead. Let's see what we can find here. Actually, I know something we can do. We can hide that fascination for the moment. I hope, if we're not too slow. Entry consultant. That doesn't help us. We are in trouble. There goes our third fascination. We need to find a fleeting reminiscence or a dread. I'm betting one of these will give us a fleeting reminiscence if we explore there, or a dread. The cemetery. Let's hope we have enough time. We can generate dread at the cemetery. Maybe we can get something at there too. A fleeting reminiscence, hopefully. Let's hope this makes dread. It would make sense that a cemetery would provoke dread. We have 1 minute. What is the source? What is the light that brims the surface of everything? The glory is coming, but I cannot be here to see it. If you don't find dread or a fleeting memory now, it's over. Come on. Come on, come on. Well, let's see what if we can do for smuggling here. I've been tasked to move sensitive cargo in a sensitive manner. I'll need deft hands to make and thorough lies to succeed here. You can use mortal to followers, tools, and ingredients on an enterprise, but the Syndicate doesn't want anything otherworldly involved in their operations. So we can use a tool, an ingredient, or a follower. We'll use our disciple and see if we can get them. Someone is meddling. Come on, cemetery, give me some dread. Beginning an enterprise. My followers have their instructions, their tools, and their wits. Perhaps that will be enough. Bypassing an obstacle will produce progress. You need 3 progress to complete the enterprise. Come on, give me some dread, graveyard. Give me some dread, or else it's over. Or give me some dread over here. That's not helpful. That's going to give me more fascination. Unless I use it in a work. Oh, boy. Yes! Okay, so the graveyard makes dread. Time to make dread. Counter the fascination. Thankful. Whew, that was too close. Deceive our way into the customs office or break in by night. Obstacles can be addressed with the proper amount of the appropriate aspect. So we need knock or moth. This is a complication, but this much moth would resolve it. Yeah, we need 5 knock to do this. So we need to promote Conrad. We need our order. Conrad. Our lore. And the Spintria. We have a new adversary, Lady Matsuoka. Shion Matsuoka is renowned in occult academia for her expertise in nyctodromy and horomakistry, and purportedly numbers amongst the know. The Bureau occasionally defers to her when beset by particularly baffling crimes of revelation. Meticulous, she always succeeds at creating evidence from notoriety. Mystic. This hunter will occasionally withstand or outwit attacks by creatures of the Mansis, even if those attacks would otherwise be unstoppable. They're also more likely to retaliate when you send summonings to track them down. clairvoyant. While this hunter is on the board, there's a chance that dreaming in the mansis will produce notoriety. Oh dear, so good thing we promoted Atticus to get rid of notoriety. And we have enough time, hopefully, that we'll be able to deal with the notoriety that is on the board before the next season of suspicion comes around. Now, she is vulnerable to dread, so we could try and make her commit suicide. She's also vulnerable to fascination, but I think dread's probably the best option for her. Yep, we have a sickness. So we've got... Our work was ill-executed. The law will take an interest. Well, time to use Atticus to get rid of that notoriety. We have a season of illness coming, so we can use our physique and gain a vitality to counteract that. And while we are doing this, we can... So we need to use Scholar Greek. Lock the study door. The work begins. And here comes our next season of suspicion. Great. Wonderful. However, we've got 2 mystiques. So there's another dread to counteract that. We'll do 1 more. So by the time she gets ready to investigate, the tentative evidence will be gone. Even if she grabs a notoriety, the evidence will be gone. Okay, good. Yes, so the evidence will be gone. And one of the notorieties will be gone, and I can hide the other notoriety in a painting. I am destroyed. I am remade. Conrad is now a disciple. Conrad has a troublesome habit of taking what does not belong to him, yet as of late he has begun to take things that do not belong to anyone. Okay, so now we can upgrade these 2 Grail fragments. We need to have Grail 6 to do that commission. My follower has produced some profit from being promoted. Two funds. And I got some funds and a vitality. And we have a contentment coming. So fascination is being cancelled. All right. So now that we have a little moment to breathe. So these are very handy, very, very handy. So let's see, what does this odd building? We want lore to see us in. Does knock give us the way in? No. Does lantern let us in? Yes. The watchman's light guides my steps. I will surely find my way to the lower sections. So let's see what's going on in this odd building. I prepared the text for study, The Rose of Nuriel. A volume of collected teachings of the Sisterhood of the Knot, that arcane contemplative order that existed in all histories, but in some was very powerful indeed. This was recorded by Nuriel and dedicated to Saint Tryphon. And this is in Greek, so we will also translate Rose of Wozniak. And because we've got some experience with translating Greek now, we're translating faster. Okay, that notoriety is decayed to secrecy. We have fascination, but it will go away because this will be disappearing soon. so now we need to hide that notoriety. And we'll hide the mystique too, so that she'll finish her investigation. We'll hide that fascination for now. So they're acting on the infamy. So what are they going to do? Rose of Wasney, the heretical teachings of a disgraced offshoot of the Sisterhood of the Knot, that arcane contemplative order that existed in all histories. This was recorded by Wasnel and dedicated to Saint Respicius. So we have Latin for Bancroft Diaries. And we have 4 experience with this, so it'll translate in just 40 seconds. Nice. So we have some contentment. The basement is untouched by age. It has a sanctuary of sorts, and it has the feel of being more real than the ruins above. Hidden sanctuary. Abandoned building outside of town. Its cellar has the feel of being more real than any other place in the world. I feel as though this may have been a way to the mansus in a previous history. Closed in our times, this place still allows one to grasp the hints of glory. To achieve a proper state of being, I will need to procure proper incense. Interesting. Let's see what we can find at this old library. My lone library is slowly growing, but I doubt it will ever rival this, at least in size. It is over. We are safe from the visions. A patron is being questioned. The Suppression Bureau will approach an influential someone regarding their involvement with me. A patron's status will keep them from being pressed too hard for information, but they may balk at interacting with me for some time afterwards. Well, good thing I don't need him right now. Okay, so she grabbed a mystique, so that helps us out. So I can continue to hide this notoriety. Bancroft seems to have been a talented adept, but devoted his energies to frustratingly whimsical projects, arranging grape-fetching races between mansus spirits, teaching percussicants to juggle, and conjuring storms of imaginary blossoms for the rose witch Arsher, who resolutely refused ever to couple with him. Bancroft spends 20 pages bemoaning this last. So let's see. Fascination has Moth. Bleeding Reminiscence has Moth and Secret Histories. Let's see if either of those will do anything in a rite. So we'll add Knock. We can add Grail to summon something shapeless. We need more. So we'll need at least 6 Grail for that. Heart and a specific powerful great moth ingredient to call upon a power to change reality in my favor, and winter to call for silence. As Chion demanded silence in Abydos, so I demand silence. This ritual will quell most influences. Interesting. That's something new. If we use Edge, Passion's Gyre, 5 moth and 1 edge, I can use the aesthetic practice called Passion's Gyre to transform reason to passion. Interesting. But if we use Fleeting Reminiscence, with at least 5 heart and secret histories and a powerful moth ingredient, I can use the mystic discipline called Moldy Warp's Embrace to mold the reality to a certain extent. If I use Knock and Lantern, summon something unusual, I need more Lantern for that. Wrong. If I use Forge instead, nope, that does nothing. Forge. Edge. No. With some winter aspect, a little moth, and a corpse, I might create a cunning servant. Infuse a corpse with the power of the ring you. But I need something that takes a corpse. Okay, so we can't use that just yet. However, I wonder... wonder how we actually use the locus. Odd text fragments noted down on small pieces of paper. Erudition. Did anything change? Nothing on its aspects changed. So we need a glimmering or an HQ with a sanctuary. So as soon as we... hopefully the Bancroft Diaries will give us a glimmering. So let's get rid of this fascination. And when she gets close to finishing that cycle, we'll we'll use the notoriety and paint in a painting to hide it. We have no despair creeping up on us. A visit from the Suppression Bureau has made this patron reluctant to associate with me, at least for the time being. I'll have to do without their services. The mantra here recorded is a high and exacting magic which can be used to pledge one's service to the spirit to the watchman, beginning an ascent to the house. Bancroft boasts of his ability to recite it when in his cups. He had also had it set to music for a performance with fireworks at Vauxhall Gardens. An unmerciful mantra. Mercy, said the watchman, is found only in shadow. So let's see, upgrading Winter Lore would need Dread and a library. Or an HQ with a pit. So we need, for this, we need Intuition, right? Or we need Glimmering, so we need to read with Passion. To get a Glimmering. Then we can upgrade our Grail lore to the next level and then use that to fulfill the commission that we've had. So let's go make a guide in the city. Hope she grabbed the Mystique. So now we can use that Fleeting Reminiscence to get some more money. Something in this patron's circumstances has changed. Perhaps the malignance of my reputation is subsiding. They reopen relations with me by way of a cordial letter. I would be interested, well, my colleagues and I would be interested in adding another mind to our little circle of discourse, Professor Jericho tells me. Can we count on your thoughts? Commission on the forge substantial. Capital, he half exclaims. I, for one, cannot wait to see what you come up with. So we can actually write that now, once we finish, once this hunter goes away. Yeah, reading that gave us some restlessness. Well, we can deal with that. We'll go ahead and let her grab the notoriety because we can deal with the evidence later. What hungers drive us? We have walked the maze of back alleys and gardens. My services were well compensated. 4 funds with that restlessness. So now we can paint with that restlessness. To get rid of it. And we'll use our glimmering. I require ever hotter fires. Their fuel is rare and costly. If I cannot afford them, the cold will overtake me. Luckily, we have plenty of ways to earn income right now, so that's not going to be too much of a problem. Let's go back to the bookies here and see if we can recruit someone else there while we're... Oop. Alright, so there's our Grail lore. The flames yearn for me as I for them. Their touch is much more than pain. I have another mark. And 2 vitality. I bear scars all over now from the fires, but it is harder each time to singe my flesh. I'm beginning to grow accustomed to flame like a dragon or stone. This is the 4th mark. So as long as we have funds, we will be quite alright for that. The world goes away. All conviction. This is something special. It may provoke a reaction. Alright, so we have 2 glimmerings. Can we use that for anything? No, we need dread there. We can use it for this. We can upgrade these 2 barber's warnings. When breath is black at the glass, when mist tautens the skin, when woods walk in winter, we hear these words. As I watch the fight, a very proper-looking gentleman comments quietly on the moves, in quite visceral detail, both on the execution and the targets. So he wants heart or edge lore of level 6. Luckily, we have this Geminid invocation. I join him, sharing my own opinions on the technique, and he seems to enjoy the discussion. Later, as we part ways, he introduces himself and invites me to a group of international correspondents of duelists. Okay, so now that we have that, we can write our forge. We can fulfill our commission. We just need some reason. We have some dread to deal with. need a glimmering. Eccentric notions or use a sanctuary. Luckily, we have glimmerings. Rumor squats on rooftops and flutters in gutters. This hunter is making progress with their investigation. I've increased my mastery of the lore of the wood, which you call by its aspect moth. And we have that to hang around, so we'll go ahead and upgrade this to level 6, which will then let us upgrade to level 8 moth lore. The first necessary elements of a case against me are in play. I am not yet in danger of trial, but I must be careful not to give this hunter more clues to follow. So we can actually use moth followers to get rid of that tentative evidence now that it's not public. So even though she's always going to make the wrong kind of attention, so she's back again, but she has no notoriety to follow right now. I finished my manuscript. And then we can also read and start this. So we need 2 passion and Grail. Wait, we need Grail lore. Write an extensive treatise of the Red Grail. So we have... The professor asked for that. I hand William the final draft for the treatise. He does not say anything, but his eyes scroll assiduously over the text. He nods slowly. I can waste her time by making her chase down this mysticism, which just ticks down the timer on that. This will do, he finally says. This will do nicely. The professor rises from the desk to shake my hand. You ought to keep at it. You might be an academic yourself someday. The real kind. So we now have Count Jannings. Count Gottlob Jannings represents a continental confraternity of physicians and duelists. He could use your assistance. So he knows Latin. Bechet knows Greek. Eben knows Aramaic. And Alexandra knows Aramaic. So let's see. I wonder what we're going to need for this. Multiple bits of lore. Good thing we've been upgrading our lores. So let's lead the Rose of Nuriel. Saint Tryphon, Nuriel explains, performed secret miracles in the name of she who bleeds and bears, and she who opens. Thus Saint Tryphon opened the way to the house of the sun, and thus Saint Tryphon underwent the great birth, an ascension to immortality. That sounds like someone growing long to me, but what do I know? Let's talk to Mademoiselle Bechet and find out what she needs. Oh, she's the one that we're working on her commission. So let's find out what Count Jannings wants. The Good Count's fraternity in Europe is seeking particular research. Let's see if there's any more people at the bookies for us to recruit. Here's what he needs. Commission on Heart. And we have some people here we have not inducted yet, so we will do that. Since we're no longer limited. Converting Sister Josephine, an acquaintance. A nervous, conscience-stricken young lady enlisted with one of the local convents. Josephine, the other sisters say, is a model servant of Christ. Alright, so that's done, and we have a commission for Heart, so we can just use our level 2 lower for that. And that wants Passion as well, which makes sense. Passion. We need passion to write about the heart. See, we have Beatrice. We can induct Beatrice. And then we will upgrade Roya as well next. And we picked up some fascination, but it will also get quelled by the dread. Saint Tryphon began his ascension by passing the Horned Door. He continued it by learning the Invocation Theatic, which Nuriel does not here record on account of its extreme holiness. And, Nuriel explains grimly, to achieve the 7 marks of the Great Birth, Saint Tryphon consumed both those whose soul had left them and even those in whom the soul remained. So that's kind of talking about the Grail Ascension, where you have to eat people alive and or eat corpses to get your next mark. So you've earned an Igavain Rite and a Megalesian Incantation. Knock and Grail. What a combo. So let's read the Rose of Wasniel. So this is from a heretical teaching. The offshoot favored by Wasne, the true sisterhood, followed Saint Respicius in pursuing ascension in the name of the Door in the Eye, the merciless hour of light. Saint Respicius failed, perhaps because the larger sisterhood tracked him down and ritually strangled him. But Wasne outlines steps for those who hope to succeed. So this would teach about how to go through about a lantern ascension. But we're going for power and forge, so we don't need, but it'll give us some lore that we might want. So let's see, what are they going to do with the infamy that's in play now? Someone of note. When one of the fighters is knocked down, the crowd is divided into cheers and laments. One of the not-so-fortunate bet-makers is a young lady in a weathered cap, swearing like a sailor. Brilliant, she grumbles. He'll go down in the 6th, he says. Great tip, Hitchens. I don't know who Hitchens is, but I could say something anyway. She wants patience, so I'll give her my reason. I throw a few words of concurrence her way, even though I have not made a bet on tonight's match. The woman nods vigorously, crumpling her betting stub in her fist and firing into a very, very lengthy, opinionated tirade. Aye, that's exactly it, she rants heartily. Hitchens is the right bastard. You're all right, though. You know, for listening. We have Nadine, an acquaintance, a short-fused, loud-mouthed young lady of subversive politics. Nadine is well acquainted with what looks the insides of a holding cell looks like, but even that is a badge of honor for her. We finished our writing on heart. And let's see what this writing on... Oh boy. So we need 8 heart, which we have. We have Geminate Invocation. We also need 6 Grail or 6 Moth. We have 6 Moth. Then Passion, Passion, and Health. Our passion needs a few seconds left. So we'll come back to that. Beatrice, a believer. Mrs. Crozier is often sad, and she cannot always remember why. And we have one more person to induct. Millie, an acquaintance. This one is ready. So Dread is countering the fascination. And we have some Season of Sickness coming up, so we'll work and make some vitality. Bureau is ordering a canvassing of the capital in its totality. Troops of officers will go street by street, making their observations and speaking to those of consequence. It will be very hard to disguise our actions going forward. This will destroy all secrecy currently on the table. Good thing we don't need any more secrecy. My follower reminds me of certain moments and certain forgotten things. Millie. Millie's kindness is warm and heavy enough to be a blanket or an obfuscating curtain. Conversations may produce fleeting reminiscences. She is frail. She dies at 2 scars rather than 3, and she is a pacifist. So let's turn in our I have what was requested. I received the currency of the secret world, a silver centria and some mystique. But mystique is not a problem. In the wake of scrutiny, uncanniness. Seek in dreams, seek the mansus. The third mark can be achieved only when one has passed the stag door. One must pass the wood, one must rise to the white door. The stag door awaits the light bearer in the sight of Gearby. A Chillark's lesson and a mansus glimpse. So we have 2 of these now, and those need physical experimentation, so health or prisoner. So we've got this, so we can talk to Count Jannings and give him his commission. Which will get us an iron spintria. My patron is that tantalizing information slip. We got a rational observation. And a bronze and an iron spintria. So let's see, that's good for knowledge or illumination. So that's good here. So we need a glimmering and that. Or we can use it for... Okay, so that's there. So let's do work on our commission here. So we need health, 2 passions, heart lore, and moth lore. Yeah, let's go back to Oriflamme's and see if they have anything on offer. A collection of essays. That'll give us our 4th level for that, so yes, might as well. Things are starting to get crowded here. Some rose pearl dust. Might find that useful for painting. Actually, we can make ourselves a tool with that. And we can make ourselves a tool with that vital pigment as soon as we get done with all of our passion is back. We'll heal our infirmity. Might as well upgrade this to the next level of knock, just because we're not doing anything else with our study verb right now. The witch and sister is cruciate, but the witch and sister... The sister and witch is cruciate, but the witch and sister is not. Even those powers that demand a conjunction are not always conjoined. When the sister is nowhere, does this make nowhere sits in crucium? Mousker, the intimations of skin. Talk to your patron to get paid for this. We have some rose pearl dust. So let's talk to Dr. Eben, give him his commission. I have what the doctor requested. I've received the currency of the secret world. Iron spintria, mystique, and a piebald pigment. And some witch-kissed oil. Formula remains unchanged since the days Hecate was worshipped at the crossways. That's heart 8. Nice. And it's an ingredient. We don't have any rights that use ingredients yet, but we might. We'll find some later, I'm sure. We'll go back to Oriflamme's and see what's on offer. Some more piebald pigment. Yeah, might as well. We have these rational observations. We might as well use them, because otherwise they'll just decay to something. Aha! When we open a thing, then we learn its nature. I have deepened my understanding of the lore which opens, which we call by its aspect knock. Let's see. There are incantations of unseeming, where the space between the words is as potent as the actual syllables. When a thing is opened, we will know its nature. Knock lore subverts most other types of lore, but not all. Okay, let's see then. So we have these. Might as well upgrade these to level 6 since we can. We can use our health for that. Alright, so now we can make something really special. You never know. This might be a living. Add passion to make distinctive paintings. Add mystique and especially notoriety to attract attention and make more money. Be careful. If you use notoriety, exhibiting paintings will keep you in the public eye. So we have heart, grail, and moth pigment. So we'll make a grail painting. A portrait. Something to remember them by, perhaps. Practical experimentation with edge needs our health. So let's get some more commissions while we're at it. So we can use, since we're making a grail painting, we can use this vital pigment that we got. I've increased my mastery of the lore of the knife, which we call by its aspect edge, an operation of the labite, a series of mystical exercises that requires both dedication and terror. Use this in a rite with a corpse and winter power, and the corpse will rise. Let's see, what else do we have here? So we have Ecclesia's Parable, which needs a library and a glimmering, which we don't have at the moment. So she wants a commission on Moth with at least level 4. Well, we have that. Count Jennings. Utter focus. All that I am is here. So we've got our piebald pigment. And while we're at it, we can study Aramaic with Alexandra Beak by paying her an iron spintria. This will be sufficient. I'll listen carefully. So he needs a commission on the mare in the tree, which needs 8 moth, 6 knock, and or 6 winter. So that's going to be quite substantial, but that should get us some nice stuff. Something unique. This will never quite dry. Perfect. I've made something unique, something extraordinary, something I will never dare to exhibit publicly. This cannot possibly ever see daylight. It will earn no funds, and it generates 2 notoriety. Contentment. 3 glimmerings. An urgency of appetite. It is difficult to control oneself. A 6th order influence. Significant resonances or correspondences. This can be used in some rites to summon minions. 2 notoriety. And the Red Grail. She did not split the sun, but here we might imagine how she must have desired it. An 8 Grail tool. So, now that we have that, and we have a Grail right here, let's see what we can do with that. Add knock to attempt a summoning, forge to renew my health, lantern and specific Grail to change one of my flock into something greater for a short time. With at least 5 lantern and a very specific invisible currency, I could use the mystic discipline called Flower Maker's Revelation to elevate one of my followers. Okay, so that's interesting. So we would need something that takes items. So let's try knock. So we add forge, to contact a seductive savage power, or moth to contact something shapeless. Summon a creature of the Red Grail. I need a great power of Grail, a significant power of knock, and some forge, so that's not enough. So let's try moth. Summon one of the rare, more bewildering creatures of the Red Grail. Grail for the raw profit source, and a little moth for its chaos addiction. So we're summoning a creature. So this actually will allow us to get rid of that frickin' evidence that's sitting there waiting. Let's see, we have a Season of Ambitions coming. And she grabbed one of the notoriety. So we'll wait until that thing upgrades. So Eldridge is up to something. Study Aramaic, the language of the visions of Amram, the book of Daniel, and the account of Kanshik at the spider's door. The language of Aram and all her many children these 3,000 years and more. Some books must be translated before they can be read. So we now have all 4 of the basic languages. We need to find ways to learn the other 4 more advanced languages. He's trying something cautious. It enters the world one limb at a time, questing like a serpent, clawing like a crow, throbbing like a vein. It will cuddle close against my leg if I let it, and afterwards I will have to dispose of my shoes. A raw prophet. Sometimes it divides, sometimes it unites. Sometimes she speaks words of warning, sometimes he advises on appetite. Its prophecies are confusion, their whispers confound. So we'll start working on this moth. We need passion for that. So we can speak to the raw prophet. Not everything from the Mansus can speak, but everything can understand mortal speech, even once it has passed the white door. Let's see if we give it... Nope, the renegade does nothing. We could try having it destroy this evidence. Even though she's going to grab it, so... We'll wait until... So that's at least pausing his timer, though. And we have some restlessness coming, so we can paint with that once we're done with our commission. Actually, let's go out a guiding because we need some money. We're running low on funds. Actually, what we'll do now is we can explore... Since he's scheming right now. This hunter is elaborating upon what evidence they already have with new intelligence. So as soon as that's done, we'll be able to feed it to the raw prophet. More evidence has been brought to bear on my case. I am ever closer to the danger of a trial, and the Bureau's trials are not known for their equity. Substantial evidence. A hunter has made worryingly comprehensive accounting of my sins. Hunters with substantial evidence of occult activities become more dangerous. But we can feed that to the raw prophet. And he can go and destroy it for us. She's back again. Hopefully she'll grab the mystique first. Even so, we'll have time to destroy the evidence first. Yes, she grabbed the mystique. So that will let me hide the notoriety in a painting so she can't get it. Oh, she's going to grab the notoriety before I can. Found Strathcone's residence. So that works, because that just has some guardians. So we can send, if the raw prophet survives. He did. My minion has returned. The evidence has been destroyed. I am a little safer. So we'll now send him, because he can tempt the Watchers. We send funds as well. Mr. Strathcone has forbidden entry to his library. Unfortunate. Let's see what we can do. So we have some dread to deal with. Luckily, we have time to work with that. So let's go back. Let's actually start working at Glover and Glover again. The office crackles with the news of Alden's unexpected absence. A scrawny, nervous fellow from the 4th floor has been appointed supervisor of records temporary. Unlike Alden, he does not interfere with my work. So this will get us 2 funds regardless every minute. So she will make some new evidence, but we can just send our raw prophet to destroy it again. And we found a glimmering. So does that help us with anything? Yes, it does. We can use that to upgrade our moth lore. So we'll need our library and a glimmering. And after that's done, we can use our dread to upgrade our winter lore. Our eludes should sway the Watchers' minds. We can also send one of our Grail people to make it come closer, dear ones. We have something special for you. Because that makes it 10 Grail, so it's very 90% likely to succeed. So we need a fascination, library, or rational observations, or a rarefied mind skills. We can do that. Ink, paper, and the fizzing of the electric lights. The office is dark when I leave, but I leave at the appointed time. The work is more demanding now, but it's better paid. Diligence, extra effort. It might help if I'm very lucky. And devotion, extra effort. It might help if I'm very lucky. The work is demanding now, but it's better paid. So what's Kit up to now? So we have Moldy Warp's admonitions. The Moldy Warp keeps her crowns in the moss and her feet in the dirt, and the trees locked jaw tight. Moldy Warp has these warnings for you. Okay, so we can use our Dread and our Library to upgrade our Winter lore. She's trying something cautious. Good thing we're already exploring Strathcone's residence, so she can't snipe it from us. Okay, so we need erudition or a library. There's our library. Bizarre tragedies and uncanny crimes are discussed at the newsstand in hushed tones. Fewer people walk the streets at night. They do not know who we are, but they know what we have done. Oh, did we find that we have another witness? Strathcone's cozy seat. Their pleasant pleasures will end ill for them. Perhaps they'll think it's worth it. Meanwhile, we can pass. Strathcone's cozy sanctum. A fire smolders in the grate. Glass cases display hard-won trinkets. We must seize what we can quickly. Strathcone may have already telephoned the police. Her rival is at their business in the shadows. They're still in hiding. What exactly are they up to? Almost always this will end exclusively, but occasionally a rival will manage to increase their power in secret. Up, we have infamy again, and a witness. Well, our raw prophet can take care of the evidence. Resolved a grim challenge. The younger Glover has taken me out for a lunch at his club. I am to do more of the things that I do, more carefully, and in return he will give me a little more of the money I earned for his father. So now we get 3 funds every time we go. And we have the choice. We can accept, curl my hands into the correct shapes, and begin. So if we put a passion in here, we give up our life as an occultist, and we would just work as a clerk at Glover and Glover. But we don't want to do that, not when we come this far. Out into the night. We escape unseen, but the next day there are reports of a fire at Strathcone's. Did someone knock a live coal onto the hearthrug, or did Strathcone destroy the place himself as part of some larger scheme? The Treatise on Underplaces, Traveling at Night, Volume 3, The Wainscot Histories, The Journal of Alessandro Lacroce, so that's our one that will teach us how to read Fustine, The Locksmith's Dream, Stolen Reflections, with 2 level 6 lores in it, and some notoriety. But now that our prophet is free, we can send him to destroy the evidence. And our winter lore is now upgraded to the Invocation of the Ivory Dove. There is power that commemorates and grieves, from whom nothing is taken, but who cannot be deceived. You might expect to be able to crush him in your hand into bird bone fragments. Use this in a rite with Martensite paste and an assistant dedicated to knock, or other resources of equal power, to summon a maid in the mirror. So while I am thinking about it, let's see if we can go out on the streets, see if we can find the streets Strange by Moonlight again. We need to explore there some more. Yep, looks like we found them. Alright, so let's see. Is there anybody left here to find? There might be. So let's see if we can find any travelers that wish to listen to our occult ramblings. Okay, so we have 3 dread. We need to deal with those. Well, they're about to expire. One of them is anyway. Yeah. My rival is observing professional courtesies. I received a cautiously civil letter, although it discusses nothing of consequence. Might there someday be an opportunity for us to join powers? So her resentment has... Now, she didn't have any resentment to begin with. And we got some pulsing airs, a heart right. So we will see if we can use that. Let's see then. We'll study our health just to get some vitality so we can cure that affliction. I'm always the last to leave, even after the Elder Glover. So we have a minute before we have to decide what to do. So let's see if our prophet did his job. And he did. My minion has returned. The evidence has been destroyed. I am a little safer. So let's see. Annoyance. So there's another... suppose theoretically, I could rise higher if someone died. So let's see if our raw prophet can deal with that annoyance for us. Send an alluring minion to ensnare and disgrace an annoyance.
Everyone has a weakness for one particular pleasure. I will send a minion who understands the many natures of pleasures. They will very likely succeed.
And then while that's done, I can go painting. And hide that notoriety. And we'll do a painting of Charlotte to remember them by. I have drawn no new devotees to my work. None to whom I spoke were impressed with my subtleties, and others still may have found them alarming. We'll do one more search there, because supposedly the lore thing will disappear if we're not allowed to find anyone else there. So we still have the bookies and the Tiresiac we can find people at too. So there's a glimmering. We don't have any multiples of any lores, so we can't use those just yet. Elridge is up to something. That will cure our vitality, cure our health. My recent work is considered significant. I may earn a living from this, yet nothing is certain. My follower does not always understand the things they say. I hope they do not. So it's producing some fascination. We have 2 notoriety. But we don't have a hunter on the board just yet. Yep, so we found all the people we can at the street Strange by Moonlight. So let's look there. We'll just go exploring there now. Let's see then. And we can read one of these books we found. The Treatise on Underplaces. Herein, the 17th century mystic and antiquarian Claude Harsalt describes the bounds or underplaces on the borders of dream. He warns they shift over time. The walls of the manses, Harsalt begins, are the size of starlight. Many of his directions are equally unhelpful, but common relationships do emerge. My minion is returned. They found a particular temptation to which our annoyance succumbed readily, at the small cost of the utter destruction of their reputation. Gotcha. So now I have one less annoyance to deal with. So we'll just... So let's see, can he... Well, the hunter... An unsuitable minion to deal with a hunter. This minion is woefully unsuited to make an attempt on someone's life. Only a miracle will see them succeed. Yeah, so she has bonuses against summon. She is a mystic. It's also more likely to retaliate when you send summonings to track them down. So yeah, we'll just use our profit there to hold its timer until we can find another place for it to go exploring. And we found a subtle fracture. Clouds part, walls creak, old wounds ache. Okay, so as soon as we're done painting, we'll go back to work for Glover and Glover. Gone, at least for now. It's probably nothing important. Oh, so that grabs the witness. Interesting. Oh! Maybe he can deal with the witness. Let's see if it'll if that will work. Alright, so back to work for Glover and Glover, and we have to devote our reason. And now if we put ambition in, we could ascend to the younger Glover's board seat. But right now we have notoriety on the board, so we don't want to do that. It would give us more funds, but it would make us vulnerable to notoriety. A picaresque account of a journey through nightmare, interspersed with what might be partial rites. On the 18th ascent is the bud. On the 36th ascent, the blossom. An Egovine rite. So that gives us another one of those. Traveling at Night, Volume 3. Elopoly's disquisitions on fire and the unburnt god are interrupted by passages of distractingly erotic poetry addressed to Baldamera. Alright, so nothing else going on right now. I await word. Offering temptations to an annoyance. Raw profits are very useful. Some contentment. Let's go to the bookies and see if there's anybody else there that we can tempt to join our side. Our fleeting reminiscence got grabbed to counter the fascination. By way of sly bribery or similar allure, my follower has ensured this witness will have no desire to testify against us. And, luckily, that does not produce any notoriety. To reach the stag door, I believe that all you really need is to want something enough. But I've never wanted anything that much, except, of course, Baldamera, and I'm very much afraid that the knot in the story is this. What Baldamera wants is the stag door. But here's something I learned in Persia. Perhaps it'll teach you what you want. Smith's secret. So, level 2 forge lore. When I close my eyes, figures march behind the eyelids. When I open them, the light hurts. But we have 3 funds to work with now. So we'll just continue to use that to stockpile up money. Because we don't really need to do any more rites for the moment. Eventually we'll need to use those commissions we have. No one else. There's no one else there. And then the Tiresiac, we would need to pay 15 of our funds to gain access to theirs. So that's a bit of on the pricey side for us right now. That would be more than half of our money. We'll wait till we have a better stockpile. But we'll read our next book. Gore's Wainscot Histories. Subtitled Stories from Behind the Walls, a miscellany of non-traditional histories compiled by William Gore, including battles not generally acknowledged and countries which appear on no map, told in a playful, apparently fictional manner. Gore does not mention the Manses directly, but constant coy metaphorical references to ascending the staircase of years, to the doors of sleep, and to the blue light of dawn suggest he had commerce with the unseen world. Alright, so let's go ahead and read our next lore fragment here and get our next exploration that we can go on. And while we have a moment, we will promote Roya to a disciple. And if we can find the forge pigment, we can use one of them to make the forge painting, which will allow us to promote everybody that we have. And I know our raw profit timer is ticking, but... At least when he decays, he only leaves behind a grail influence, not anything else. He's a Phylaxian. If I speak to him about my health, he can offer protection against disease. Thresher of Thoughts. If I speak to this one, I can offer it my reason. And Summon. This one is not from here. Deceiver. If this breaks free, it may try to drive you or your followers to insanity. Season of Ambitions is coming. Is it going to grab me, or is it going to grab one of my rivals? It was common in that time to speak of the division of the sun, by which contemporaries understood the eruption of barbarian forces and of their uncouth gods. A furtive truth. And we found St. Agnes's Hospital. They did good work here once. Certainly there were a few too many amputations, but there are individuals one would prefer not to walk the city streets. A dry soul curse. We need heart or lantern. So we will... We have a disciple of heart. So, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's do that. We can send our heart disciple to that. To protect and to deal with the curse. Only echoes walk the hospital halls now, but malice lingers in the air. We must search meticulously, room by room. And as soon as this one is done, we have Roya, a disciple. Roya goes to each task with terrifying dedication, usually drawing an audience. She does not shirk, she does not flinch, she does not tire. And now we can use our bronze Spentria that we have to promote Millie. And that way we'll have 2 heart people, so we can send her on this expedition. And we can read the Journal of Alessandro Lacroce. Prince Alessandro Lacroce spent years in secret study of the tablets taken from the Fusine marches in central Italy. His work will allow you to decipher Fusine texts. It has something in common with Latin, and something else in common with the scratchings of maddened rats. We haven't found any Fusine texts yet, but I'm sure we'll run into one or two eventually. Boring, rote, yes, but I completely understand why, and it is making us money. Kit is up to something. A bold scheme. She is moving boldly. We call upon the Ring-Yu, who encompasseth. We carry enough heart aspect to quell the curse. Probably. So as soon as our other guy is as soon as Millie is promoted here. Millie, a disciple. Millie and Gideon know the importance of safekeeping. It's one thing to protect people from what will bruise and bleed them. It is another to protect them from what they oughtn't to know. So now we can send her to this. We are strong enough in heart to almost entirely secure against the curse. We call upon the Ring-Yu, who is renewed. And we'll get a forgotten fleeting memory from that. In places, it overlaps with languages I know. In other places, well, I can see why they call it the tongue of witches, but I understand it well enough now. A people lived east of the lost Lake Fucino. Horace warned that theirs was the land of witches. This is their language, called by some the dry tongue, and by others the language of the tongue of witches. Some books must be translated before they can be read. So let's see, what do we have? Let's talk to our Raw Prophet and see if he can do anything about Eldridge. Nope. Fleeting reminiscence for us. Arrival is considering an expedition. Well, I don't have any open expeditions for them to go on, so they can't do anything. And we have a season of sickness coming up, so I will study my health and get a vitality for that. Another season of ambitions. Eldridge or me? There goes one mystique. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to have some time here, and I have all 4 of my passions, so let's make something fancy. We'll make a portrait of Charlotte, and we'll use this piebald pigment, which will make us the moth item. So we have more infamy. Great. 2 infamy levels. The Violet Chamber. See. Our power is stronger than the power that was here. The curse won't touch us. What was this place? The door bore no sign. There were no windows. The walls were painted a rich violet. Rich, even now, with the ravages of rain through the leaking ceiling. A rotting chair has leather straps on the arms. The floor is porcelain, unrunneled. Violet. So what were they doing with Knock in an old building? In an old hospital? St. Agnes. So now we'll use our piebald pigment. There was a padlocked cupboard in the wall. It does not resist our strength. It does not long resist our strength. It contains instruments tipped with flint and glass, instruments one would not expect a surgeon to use. It contains other matters of more interest to us, too. Empty hospital. Phantoms, the neighbors say, still walk the echoing halls here. If we take possession, of course, they will leave, or we'll turn them to our use. Wound in the world. A rite performed in this place will be charged to include an additional instrument. Locksmith's Dream Trespasses, the 3rd volume of Teresa Gallmer's examination of parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. The Rose of Hypatia, marked with the tripled sign of the arcane contemplative order known as the Sisterhood of the Knot, in Greek. So that must be talking about the Ascension. That's Heart, so that might be the one we're on, or might be something else. Stained Gloves. What uses have these known? What lessons might they teach my hands? And some rose pearl dust. Pearls are sacred to the witch and sister, especially those of this color. They have been used in protective rites, among others. And we've generated some notoriety. Rival seeks tools and lore for their own ascension, but she's been stymied because we didn't leave one open. So let's go ahead and open another one. And we should have the power to do with whatever we need now. My followers possess an infectious sense of optimism. We have some contentment. Luckily, we don't have any dread, but we do have some sickness coming, so we'll be able to deal with that here in a second. We have stained gloves. They're 4 grail. Utter focus. All that I am is here. Let the critics argue over what color this actually is. Perhaps they'll come to blows. So the piebald pigment says, from the crushed wings of rare lepidopterans, painting black or painting white, this is the stuff that'll see you right. Finished. Let the critics argue. Something unique. I've made something unique, perhaps extraordinary, something I will never dare to exhibit publicly. This cannot possibly ever see daylight. It will earn no funds. A rotting in the soul, notoriety, and the moth. In the forests of the first continent, our ancestors cursed themselves with their own god. We have a rattling in the soul. Oh, the friends that we played and the skins that we made, still they drive us. A sixth order influence, significant resonances or correspondence. This can be used in some rites to summon minions. So let's see what actually that does before we start the timer ticking again. So we add that. Knock to attempt a summoning. Edge to drown my reason and passion. Heart and a specific powerful moth ingredient to call upon a power to change reality in my favor, or winter to call for silence. So let's see. Let's add knock. And if we add grail, so that would also be a way for someone to summon a raw prophet, but we still have one, so we don't need to. Besides, we need to go back to work for Glover and Glover. But what we can do is save that by talking to the raw prophet about it, which will stop both of their timers. And when we're done seeking out and finding this place, we'll see what it is and send our people out there. Rival intends to end a hunter. This may be to my advantage, but it may also draw attention. Well, if she does, that'll help me out. Forgotten Mithraeum. Curiosity seekers have picked over this ancient temple, but there may be a hidden door here somewhere. So we need lantern or knock for that one. Well, we have knock. I'm convinced the Mithraeum still holds secrets its discoverers never found. It's unlikely to be dangerous, but the search will require funds. So we have contentment coming in a minute. And we'll send our other knock caller just to make sure we have as much knock as possible going on there. So let's see here. Since our raw prophet is running low on time, we can use the Crucible Soul with... Can the raw prophet return himself if we use a little bit of knock? Yes, it can. So we basically would sacrifice him and summon a new one. We still have time to work for Glover Glover. Even if it times out, we can just get re-promoted again. We have 30 funds to work with for the moment. We call upon the beach crow, who opens the earth. We are skilled in discovering hidden ways. We'll probably find this hidden door. Actually, what we can do to stop that timer, we can talk to Charlotte. Oh. Rivals don't prowl the streets like hunters. They will only meet us on neutral ground. To defeat one, we must prepare a trap they may stumble into. Let's see what we can do about that. Let's make a snare and see if we can get him. Where is it? We could use more knock or lantern. Well, hopefully nobody got hurt searching for that. And so we have an awareness of appetite. So that influence degraded. So when it died, it left behind an influence. But we have plenty enough time to go back to work. Someone has failed to murder a hunter. You fool. So we need more funds to continue the search for the door. And after this, we will write a substantial... we need to talk to Mademoiselle Bechet to get paid for that. My rival cannot know what awaits them, safely unaware. Rivals... I have prepared an ambush for a rival. A snare can only be used on an independent or to defeat an independent's attempt on any vault. Okay, so she's going to make some evidence, which will then destroy. And then we'll search for another vault and leave that open for one of our hunters, for one of our independents to try and grab. My follower's plan is eccentric at best and incompetent at worst, but perhaps an enemy will stumble into it. So we'll stop the timer on that so he can destroy the evidence once she creates it. Well, we'll just have to keep searching. The door does not want to be found. And as soon as this restlessness decays, we can use the dread and the fascination together to make something to cancel each other out. Alright. So we put fascination there, we did dread, and they cancel each other out, and will become a fleeting reminiscence. Okay, so let's get paid for our commission. Maybe our notorieties will go away with it. Nope, she's acting on the infamy. We have a herring axiom, a bronze spintria, and some mystique. Let's see what Dr. See what Dr. Aladdin wants from us. On secret histories. Okay, easy enough. Okay, so let's read. So Rose of Hypatia is in Greek. We need to translate it first. We've already translated several things from Greek, so this will be fairly quick. Under pretense of some minor crime or other offense, this hunter will temporarily detain one of my associates for questioning. Great. Well, it looks like we'll have to promote one of our knock followers here in order to get something, but luckily we have a bronze spintria now that we can use to do that. We'll give him one more funds and let him search one more time. Okay, so there's the evidence. We can feed that to our raw profit. Rose of Hypatia, a volume of collected teachings of the Sisterhood of the Knot, that arcane contemplative order that existed in all histories, but it was very powerful indeed. This was recorded by Hypatia and dedicated to Saint Nympha. Saint Nympha is described as not born, but cultivated. The sentience that became the saint, Hypatia indicates, inhabited a sinner's corpse in order to enable that sinner's redemption. So if this expedition does not work this time, we will let it fail and we will go on and promote one of our people and then try again. I await word. So let's see. We need to write this thing for Count Jannings. So let's try this. So we need moth lore and knock lore, and we need two passions and a reason. So just in time to finish up before we run out of time for that, for our job. We'll be just in time for our next shift. Not all the dead enter the mansus by the winter door. Not all the dead enter the mansus at all. A wood whisper and words that walk. So, nothing particularly useful for us. So let's read the next volume of Locksmith's Dream. In this volume, notoriously, Galmir's prose begins to disintegrate, and it is not clear which dreams are in fact her own. Okay, last attempt at this, and then we'll let it fail. Well, actually, no. We'll go ahead and let it fail, and then we'll promote one of our people and try again. I finished the manuscript. Once in the wood we call a visit, twice in the wood we call a journey, thrice we call home. The snare of the tree, collected proverbs of Aunt Mopsy. Okay, go ahead. Release my person. Or they just don't want to let her go, do they? There goes our notoriety, though. We have fleeting reminiscences. We have another fascination that's about to happen. We can try again when the dust has settled. The woman in the sand-colored robe has told me the stairways of the mansis go ever up. Death is down. The mother of ants guards both directions with each of her heads, and so the passage must always be through a wound. I think the white door might be a wound. That's one reason the dead sometimes pass it. I think I have the other half of the secret now, and I hope my reader can put both halves together. A wood whisper. Well, let's upgrade that. Since we have glimmerings, might as well use them. Okay, so now we'll promote one of our knockfallers. We'll promote Sister Josephine. Let's see, what's she? She can make fascination. She's resilient, and she's morbid. She can sometimes produce dread. Let's go with Elizabeth. Let's promote Elizabeth here then. Yeah, we might as well check what's on sale at Oriflamme's while we're waiting. Some more vital pigment. Might as well buy it. My follower returns at last from the bowels of Central Office. They are weary and paler in the face, but of more consequence they've revealed nothing of our work to the authorities. Alright, so we have one more book to read here. The Locksmith's Dreams, Stolen Reflections, the fourth volume of Teresa Galmier's expansive work, no longer a discussion of the dreams of artisans, but a valuable survey of other works. The tone is calmer than that of Trespasses, but occasionally fearful, even paranoid. This volume was published in 1926, but almost immediately recalled and pulped by the publisher, at the request of the author or possibly the authorities, depending on which story you believe. A few copies survive. Janus is the gatekeeper, the twin god, the god that wounds, the presager of changes, the sun, the moon. So we identify him with the watchman, the twins, with the mother, with the forge, with the meniscate, and the madrigad. He cannot be all these, can he? The Flamines knew the church, knew the dry land, knew Elgabalus. Is he then synthesis? Or is he something else? In Galicia they called him Ianus Lamius, but the Obliviots are notorious for their slanders. And in case you are not familiar with famous Greek history, Elagabalus is another word for Marcus Antonius, I believe, or one of the famous Greek people. So we'll cancel out our fascination and dread there because we don't need those. We don't want those hanging around. Season of Contentment coming up. Season of Suspicion coming. We have no notoriety on the board, so that's good. Our mind is clear. Elizabeth, a disciple. Elizabeth keeps a shard of mirror in her pocket. She grips it tight enough to bleed, but never to shatter. She must see what sometimes look back through the glass. So, fascination and some eccentric notions. Fascination we can get rid of with that fleeting remembrance. Whoever it is doesn't want me to get this pigment very easily, do they? Janus has, they say, not one face, but two, to which I reply, why only one? Why only two? For Sultan Costly, according to Thomas Love Denman, once agreed that Janus was all the gods and none. But later, Her Salt insisted he was all the gods, and Costly favored simply none. Denman was a sinister Didyland, but this rings true of them both. So we got an Exodiust's Parable and an Unmerciful Mantra. So both things that we can now upgrade, I believe. Yes, we can. We have a glimmering, so we'll use our library to upgrade this. Cure our fascination before it becomes a problem. Go ahead. Keep looking. There's nothing to find. As soon as we're done at Glover and Glover, we can resummon our Raw Prophet. So much for the Vital Pigment. Oh well, we already made the Grail painting anyway, so it's not like we needed another one. Ah, we have some Martensite paste. The Sacred Chrism of the Sword, also an attractive silver green. This one we definitely want. So we have a Fenian Invocation now. And we'll cancel this other fascination. So we have 2 Fenian invocations. We can upgrade that to the next level. Because all that needs is the library. We have our martensite paste. So that is our edge pigment. So we can make our edge painting now if we wanted to. But we'll wait until we can resummon our raw profit. Alright, so we do Crucible Soul, the raw profit, and some Knock Lore. And we basically summon the raw profit to make a raw profit. And they're back again at it. But the infamy is about to expire, luckily. So this should be the last time we have to deal with that for a while. We have the Formulae Concursate. The concursum waits at the Lantern of the Mansus. It has been called the Chamber of Ways and the Chamber of Endings. Its intricacies are probably beyond human comprehension, but these formulae are our first approximation. Use this in a rite with a knock tool and a thrilling air, or other resources of equal power to summon a hint from behind mirrors. So edge and knock is what's needed for hints, as well as Significant Lantern, which we have Significant Lantern now. So let's see, we have our commission on the Mare in the Tree. So we'll return that to Count Jennings. He's given us a Byzantine Tinct, a Lethe, and an Iron Spitria. Lethe. A dark and syrupy liquor favored in unnamed forest villages, the tongue and the eye, and now we begin. Forget your name, forget your skin. And the Byzantine Tinct is a knock pigment, the profound purple worn only in histories where Tyrian dye was not rich enough for emperors. It is difficult to bar entry for one wearing this color. Alright, so now we have 10 knock. So we can send both of our people to the Forgotten Mithraeum again. And this time they should be able to find that secret door. Nope, they are scoping out locations. Yep. My summoning has escaped my control, where it'll wreak havoc, no doubt. Great. It's eating my reason. Lovely. We got too distracted. Luckily, losing one reason is not going to be the death of us. And we might find a way to get it back. Oh, it converts to dread. The events of that night will live long in your memory, and for days the newspapers question residents of the district. So I bet this is generating another witness. Nope, more infamy. Great. So let's pay attention to what we're doing now. We got distracted by too much going on. Which, to be fair, is part of the game. And at least we still have the ability to level up reason one more level to get that reason back. In fact, we might as well do that now. Let me check my notes here for something real quick. Let's see here. So let's see. Scholarship can be upgraded to a rarefied mind or a silent intensity. So we have a library, so we don't need a rarefied mind. We might need a silent intensity, so we would need Edge, Winter, or Secret Histories to do that. Okay, so you managed to make evidence. But as long as we don't provide any more notoriety, we should be fine. I've regained my senior position. Faint lines in stone, a surface that yields to pressure. We found it. The hidden door moves with a grating shudder and a shower of dust. So there's one lesson. A lonely space, musty with the memory of blood. We have found the hidden door that once the highest grades of initiate used. The altar tilts back like a jaw. Behind it is the pyramid space where only the sun hunters and dawn givers might go. But others have been here too, much more recently. They have left their treasures. Elgabaline Manacle. It does not relinquish its grip. Winter 8. Nice tool there. An empty Mithraeum. This was a place of worship once. We could make it so again. Locus, suitable for ritual. Resonant geometry. A rite performed in this place will be changed to include an additional influence. Refulgen. A white so pure it remains visible even in utter darkness. A cracked noonstone. Noon, the saying goes, is not what it was, but this stone still retains an embery glow. It has been cracked. A forge-aspected follower could restore it with sufficient resources, or I could use up what power remains in it. And we gain some notoriety. So this is the lantern pigment. So that will go right there. We have a cracked noonstone, so let's see what our forge follower needs to repair that. Work! Yes, Roya gets up, with imposing totality of air coming unfurled. I can work. We'll take funds to purchase the necessary materials. Okay, that's doable. So let's see. Let's go to the Exodus Club. We haven't been there before. We can also use lore to see if we can find anybody there that can help us. And we need some entry money. I've heard things about the Exodus Club and about the club's proprietor, but infamy, as it often does, draws a certain kind of guest to the premises. I am one such guest. There must be others like me here. So we could paint the 4 more paintings if once we have the time, if we need the tools for them. There's 2 lessons. And I think we're going to go, yes, we're going to need... Silent Intensity. So Edge, Winter, or Secret History. If we use Lantern, Forge, or Knock, we'd get a rarefied mind, but we already have a library, so... Yeah, we want Open Soul. Or for this, we'll want... we'll have to look and see what Forge wants. The bar at the Exodus seems like the place tonight. There I met a traveler from an antique land, or so he claims to be. He relates to me his adventures, his old comrades, his plans to write a book. It would fall tragically short of actually being abroad, of course. One should endeavor to see most of this world before we head off to the next, don't you think? Wanderlust. So we need... Ooh, interesting. How do we generate that? So if we ever get a restlessness, we know what to do with it. Follower needs funds to complete their task. My follower is at work on the stone. Ah, so the hidden sanctuary is a sanctuary. The old village theater is being watched. Tiresiac is being watched. There's 3, and this will be number 4. The stone is repaired. It shines again as it did once before. Noon, the saying goes, is not what it was, but the polished stone still retains a sunset glow. I wonder, if we were to give her this, are we enemies? Perhaps we don't have to be. Because we can find more noonstones. Or we'll hold it. We'll just talk to her for now, so see what we can do. So let's see, if we talk to them about our cult... we'd have to go the other way. We'd have to talk to the cult and then try to induct them. His face falls a little. It's not for everyone, of course. It can be a rather onerous thing, traveling, and dangerous, too. The traveler fires off into another tale, something about shacking up with insurgents in Riada, but I am no longer listening. Lawrence, I know where a certain wanderer rests his feet. Yeah. Let's search for another place here in the capital and see what we can find. And we're getting to about 3.5 hours here, so we'll go ahead and get this leveled up. If it will give me the right zaps there. There we go. And we want to add secret histories. A deeper concentration. No one remembers all the histories. In consequence, no one can forget them all. So we'll use this. Because I think that... Yeah, silent intensity replaces dread. And let's see, for these, we need the open soul skill. We have a library, so yeah, we want for... So for passion, we want to go for open soul. Okay, so while we have time here... Yeah, we'll go ahead and start working because we need the funds. So we're almost done here, seeking out the hidden place of the city. So we'll see what we get from that, and then we'll maybe think about calling it a day. Sorry about that. Someone was messaging me, trying to get my attention. Let's see. So we'll finish up, see where this exploration goes, and maybe start an expedition, and then we'll be on our way, and then we'll call it a day. The Forsaken Reach. Along the gray banks of the rotting river, the warehouses wait. Perhaps I have identified one where an unusual cargo was stored, so we found all the expeditions in the capital. So we need forge, and... or lantern and grail. So we can use that to set a trap. We can use that to prepare a snare for one of our rivals. And And we'll go back to the Exodus Club and see what we can find there. So we have a silent intensity. The chilly stillness is the stillness of certainty. Reason and skill can increase no further. So let us increase... Nope, not heart lore. Moth lore. Oh, we need glimmerings for that. I forgot. Wrong thought. Easy enough to fix, though. And we'll dream with some reason. There was once a man who said the sleep of reason produced monsters. Often it is healthy to let the mind wander in sleep, but if I keep dreaming, sooner or later some sort of monster will rise from my own fears. Oh, and we have an affliction to cure, so we'll do that next. So we need glimmering, eccentric notions, or a sanctuary. Oh, we can use the hidden sanctuary. That works. That actually is helpful. I'm glad I explored that building. Then we need our library. I require ever hotter fires. Their fuel is now rare and costly. If I cannot afford them, the cold will overtake me. Tonight the club is sweet with indolence. I melt in and out of conversations and end up with a gaunt-eyed man in the midst of the haze. I am not sure I agree. Art is more than what appears on the canvas. It is the artist's experience, his pains, his weaknesses, he says to me. I do not remember giving him my opinion on art. Here, have a bit of my weakness. The gaunt man holds his long pipe out to me. Health. I draw long on his pipe, our constitution. I draw long on his pipe, and a tendril of smoke goes forth from my throat like a serpent or a dragon. The gaunt man follows suit. Words follow him, though I lose them in the hazy minutes. You're right, he says. I do not remember what I said, but I like being agreed with. We should speak again sometime. Perhaps you could sit for a portrait. We have met Maximilian, a gaunt-eyed, daydreaming bohemian with a wide artistic streak. He has taken to things stranger and sweeter than absinthe as means of inspiration, and they have taken to him. Well, our notoriety is about to fade away. We have 2 Moldy Warp's admonitions now. We have reached the 5th mark. No hair remains on my body. I am strong, devilishly so. I am always shivering every moment I am away from the fire's side. Okay, so we have created a snare for one of our renegades to hopefully stumble into. And let's see, we want to clear up our mystique, so let's talk to Atticus about cult business. Atticus smiles all the way to his eyes when he sees me. Always good to see you, he laughs, giving my hand an enthused shake. Now, is this visit for leisure or work? My follower has charisma and force of will. They will most likely succeed at ironing out our reputation. So that will destroy one of those mystiques that's over there. Oop, we have fascination is breeding, but our despair is about to provide us. We need some contentment. Now we have a restlessness. Nice. I dreamt of opening doors, red doors and doors of glass, and doors bound like books, and railway carriage doors, and castle gates. Behind one was something I seek. I woke with the slamming of doors still in my ears. So we have a restlessness that we now can use to recruit that guy. We just have to get the Exodus Club. We'll have to hold that if we can somehow to prevent it from going to dread. We need to get some contentment, so we need to heal ourselves first before that fades away. We can hold the restlessness here until the Exodus Club reopens. We have time, because the Exodus Club's only 30-second timer. My followers plying their rhetoric to the masses. Alright, so we apply that. And the Exodus Club. Oop. And the entry fee. The traveler is again at the bar, writing in a book poorly bound with twine. He looks up only when I'm staring over his shoulder. Ah, you again, he really smiles. Something on your mind? Wanderlust. Oh, indeed. There's a great many things to be had outside of one's rainy fatherland, the traveler says, raising a glass. I will say, power is something I've not heard named amongst those things. It's true, I'm sure, but I've never heard it in conversation before. I continue the conversation, and by its end he is clear on the kind of power I mean. So we need to find some contentment here. Or some fleeting visions, or dread. Well, once this decays to dread, it should zoop to this, and then we can use the contentment. We can try dreaming again and see what we get from that. Oh, there we got some contentment coming. No one understands us, or perhaps they understand us too well. Instead of saving the mystique, we created more of it. So let's get some more commissions while we're at it. Oh, we need a commission on... So he's the one that has that. So we'll get a commission from Professor Jericho. So we'll dream the dream of reason. So he wants Forge. Mademoiselle Bechet. Once. On the egg unhatching. Lantern and lantern or moth. And Count Jennings. We now have Lawrence, an acquaintance. Mapmaker, memorist, and self-proclaimed citizen of no nation, Mr. Thackeray is a chronic wanderer who only lives out of his suitcase. He can't quite live without it. So now we'll let this resentment decay. Despair abates, so this will reduce our fascination. Edge, very substantial for Count Jennings. We still have that job we need to do for Mrs. Beak. Yep, so this should be hoovered up by our fascination. Okay, so let's do this job for Mrs. Beak, this smuggling enterprise. So we can use Conrad for that. And let's see what's on offer at Oriflamme, see if there's any new books for us. Yes, there is. A true and complete accounting of the Asclepian mysteries of the roots of the house, reproduced by one Riley Griss from supposedly a much older text, in Greek. We'll bid on that. Some vitality. Begin a smuggling operation. Okay, so we have 5 knock, which will be our first obstacle. Back to work. Let's induct our new guy. This one is ready. And then we need to induct Nadine as well. Powers that unseal and unseam have allowed us to deal with this obstacle. Knock has guaranteed a way. Okay, we have our book. So now we can translate it. It's in Greek, so we apply our scholar. And 40 seconds to translate this since we have so much experience now. And there it grabbed the dread to finish off the last of our visions. Lawrence is always heading someplace else. So he comes with funds and he can create fleeting reminiscences. Conceal our cargo in a secret compartment or in plain sight. We'll need 5 more knock for that, so we can apply Elizabeth for that. The powers that unseal and unseam have allowed us to deal with this obstacle. Knock has guaranteed a way. Bitter black salts. There's the forge pigment. That's what we were waiting for. No ordinary chemist could produce these dark gleaming crystals, not without the touch of the forge. So now we'll read our book that we just translated. Descriptions of the Asclepian mysteries, reproduced by one Riley Griss from supposedly a much older text. It's unlikely to be genuine, but it makes a reference to the house without walls and its wood, right there in the prologue. This is very obviously not an antique text. At the very least, it has been badly mutilated, but it contains substantial intriguing material, especially a pervasive comparison of the many-portaled house within walls to the human body. So let's see. What can we do to pass the time here? We need to... Let's write one of our... So we need secret histories, at least 4. We have that. And we need reason. We're almost finished, but still there is a league of difference between almost finished and finished. An inspection is coming down the manifest line. Now is the time for a perfect forgery or a masterful string of spoken lies. So we need 15 knock for that. Oh boy. This only gives us 4 knock. So we're going to have to... that would give us 8 moth. We'll have to come back to that another day. Yes, we're not letting this go. We want to make that forged portrait. So that way we can exalt. We can start putting people into disciples. Hello, what's this? Veiled movements. My follower has capitalized on preparations they've made to conceal their deeds, plus opportunity for profit. The law will take an interest. Notoriety. Oh boy. Well, we have only one. The infamy is about to fade. We have Season of Ambitions coming. We have money coming. So we need to get our third person at disciple category in order to finish that. The direction of death is down, the book explains. The peacock door has been considered a rent or an abrasion, but in some aspects is more like a mouth, if not a more treasured point of entry. Discussions of the doors include a rite which may conjure creatures through those doors, although key incantations are missing. Rite of the map's edge. The vagabond is the only hour that never enters the mansis. This rite must be performed in the right place, in the right time, and the vagabond will take that rightness for her own. And we have words that walk. And we have gained the bitter black salts. So now we can make the forge painting. And we have words that walk. We can upgrade that to a level 6. Oh, no, we have vitality. We need glimmerings for that. Okay, I think I'm starting to get sleepy here, so it's probably time for us to go ahead and call this a day for now. Well, let's see how much profit we're going to get here from our... Ah, so it grabbed mine. The shaping heat. We have reached the 6th mark. Wow, we're getting a lot of money from this guy. We may have gained notoriety, but we're creating a lot of money. Because we need glimmering. 5 funds from that. That was even though we failed, we still got plenty of money. So let's see. As soon as we're done here, we'll start painting the forge masterwork. As soon as we need to wait for our passion to be done here, so. It is difficult to bend my limbs. I have so many scars. I prefer not to expose my face to the public gaze. I can hold a hot coal in my hand and I feel nothing, although there is the faintest smell and the softest sizzling. This is the 6th mark. Direct confrontation is always unwise, but in the last resort, if it comes to a struggle, I am very dangerous. We've reached the 6th mark and level 6 of our desire. So as long as we have funds, we can keep that up. And we just have to assemble the things we need to make our ascension. So we'll continue working. And I think at this point we're going to go ahead and call it a stream and call it a day. So Hope you've been enjoying watching this, and as you can see, the board is getting extremely crowded right now, but we'll get there eventually. We're going to start, now that we have the bitter black salts, we can start elevating these guys to disciples and sending them off on expeditions to get stuff. So, I will see you all on the next stream, probably going to be on Thursday. Thank you for watching. Hope you've been enjoying this vision of Cultist Simulator with the Season of Acquaintances mod, and I will see you all next time.